Hey everyone, welcome back for episode 6, where I'll be covering the animal classification of reptiles. Reptiles have existed longer than the two previously covered classifications, with the earliest reptiles being recorded from over 300 million years ago. Before I go into examples, I'll define what makes a reptile a reptile. Reptiles are either covered in scales or scutes, which give them a natural armor. Scales also aid in movement and retaining moisture for some reptiles such as snakes. Reptiles often shed their skin, especially while they're growing. This helps get rid of old and damaged scales while also removing any parasites. Unlike mammals and birds, reptiles are cold-blooded. This means they require less food since they don't need as much energy to regulate their body temperature, but it also means they cannot survive in colder climates. Like birds, reptiles lay hard-shelled eggs. To keep their eggs safe, they often bury them underground. Reptiles also have a well-developed sense of hearing, with snakes being the only exception. Reptiles can be broken into two main orders, being Lepidosaurs and Archosaurs. Lepidosaurs is the larger order of the two, with over 9,000 species. It includes lizards, snakes, Amphisbaenas, and tuataras. Of Lepidosaurs, lizards are the most prevalent. Around 2/3 of Lepidosaur species are lizards. Lizards are typically small, agile reptiles, running in short bursts to catch prey or escape predators. Some species have adhesive pads on their feet and can climb vertically. One species of lizard, the basilisk lizard, can even run on water. They can be found all over the world except in extreme cold climates like Antarctica and the North Pole. Most lizards are predators that prey on insects and spiders, while some larger species prey on fish, birds, and small mammals as well. Some examples of lizards include skinks, geckos, anoles, agamas, chameleons, horned lizards, frilled lizards, iguanas, monitor lizards, and Komodo dragons. The second largest group in Lepidosaurs are snakes. Snakes are a fascinating group of animals since they adapted to lose their legs and instead slither using full body movement. Their slim and flexible bodies allow them to squeeze into tight spaces and wrap themselves around branches, making them well adjusted to most types of terrain. Snakes range in length from only a few inches to as long as over 20 feet. The extinct Titanoboa grew to over 40 feet in length. Like lizards, they can be found all over the world except in extreme cold climates. Snakes' diets consist of small animals such as lizards, frogs, other snakes, small mammals, birds, eggs, insects, and fish. Some larger species of snakes dine on larger animals, with the biggest snakes being able to swallow humans and even alligators. Snakes cannot chew their prey, so instead they have to swallow the food whole. This can be a long process, so many species have adapted to have venom which they can use to kill their prey first. Other species tightly wrap themselves around their prey, constricting it and killing it. Some examples of snakes are garter snakes, copperheads, rattlesnakes, coral snakes, cobras, sea snakes, mambas, anacondas, pythons, and boa constrictors. Next are Amphisbaenas, which are very similar to snakes in appearance, but are more closely related to lizards. This is an example of convergent evolution, which is when two unrelated animals evolve similarly to fit the same niche. Amphisbaenas have a segmented body that makes them look similar to earthworms. Unlike snakes, they have large teeth for chewing food, similar to lizards. They mainly eat insects and live in South and Central America, as well as Southern Africa. Lastly of the Lepidosaurs are tuataras. Tuataras are a unique reptile in the fact that they are the only surviving species of their suborder. They look very similar to lizards, but they have a much more primitive anatomy. They're exclusively native to North New Zealand, where being isolated has allowed them to survive for millions of years. The second order of reptiles are Archosaurs. It's a very interesting order because it includes the extinct dinosaurs and technically birds as well. As for the actual live reptiles of the classification, Archosaurs include crocodilians and turtles. Crocodilians are the largest non-extinct reptiles on the planet. They are semi-aquatic, usually live in rivers, lakes, and swamps. They live all over the southern hemisphere, from southern and Central America, Africa, southern Asia, and northern Australia. Crocodilians hunt by waiting submerged at the water's edge for prey to come and drink. They have an extremely powerful bite, what makes it near impossible for prey to escape from their grip. They will then pull their prey back into the water and drown it if it's still alive. Crocodilians' diets consist of any large animal they can catch, often large herbivorous mammals. They are more closely related to birds than to lizards or any other living reptile. Some examples are crocodiles, alligators, caimans, and gharials. Last but not least of reptiles are turtles. Turtles are known for their thick shells and tendency to hide in them. They can be further separated into 3 categories, being terrapins, tortoises, and sea turtles. Terrapins are the most common kind of turtle. They are semi-aquatic, spending most of their time in lakes or swamps. They often sunbathe on logs or rocks on the water's edge. Terrapins are omnivores, feeding on aquatic plants, worms, and insect larvae, with snapping turtles eating fish, amphibians, and other turtles. Some examples are box turtles, map turtles, snake-neck turtles, softshell turtles, and snapping turtles. Tortoises live exclusively on land, often in arid environments. They are the slowest of turtles and also have exceptional lifespans, with the oldest recorded tortoise being 250 years old. They are mostly herbivores, unlike other turtle species. On the opposite side of the spectrum are sea turtles. They live almost their entire lives in the ocean, only coming up on land to lay eggs. Sea turtles are omnivorous, with diets consisting of seagrass, sponges, mollusks, jellyfish, worms, and fish. Some examples of sea turtles are loggerhead sea turtles, hawksbill sea turtles, green sea turtles, and leatherback sea turtles. In terms of reptiles you can see here in Philly, you need to know where to look to find them. The most easy reptiles to find are turtles. On a sunny day in the spring or summer, you can usually spot turtles resting out the water near ponds in Fairmount or on the edges of the Schuylkill. Snakes are also possible to find but are more elusive. Garter snakes can be found hiding in gardens or near trash bins behind buildings, but seeing one is unlikely. There are a few lizard species native to Pennsylvania, but it's very unlikely to see any in the city or even in the wild. There are also no crocodilians native to the area, but that's probably a good thing after all. Thanks for tuning in. Next episode I'll be covering the last classification of land vertebrates, being amphibians. I hope you learned something new about reptiles. Take care and see you next time.